Hey research team, good afternoon. My name is Subramany, and today for my short teaching demo, I would like to talk to you guys about vaccines and vaccinations. The reason I chose this topic is because vaccines have been a hotly debated topic in the news, on the political spectrum, in medical literature, and I feel that before you can either make a decision as to pro or con, I feel that you have to at least know how vaccines work. So hopefully after today's brief teaching demo, you'll be better informed to make a better decision. But before I get started on the actual pathology of vaccines, I believe it's fair to pay honor and tribute to the father of vaccines, and that's Dr. Edward Jenner. And Dr. Jenner was a 18th century British physician who at the time his country was unfortunately being ravaged by the smallpox disease. So Dr. Jenner's big medical discovery was the smallpox vaccination, and he was able to eventually make the vaccine due to a key observation. So Dr. Jenner observed that milkmaids, women who milked cows, were basically immune to the smallpox disease, and he hypothesized that this was because the blisters on their hands that they got from milking these cows, which was then referred to as cowpox being very similar to smallpox but not as virulent or fatal to humans, that somehow this cowpox was making the milkmaids immune to the smallpox disease. So how was Dr. Jenner going to test this hypothesis? So what he did, was the best way to put this. He basically got his gardener's 8-year-old son. He basically created 2 incisions along his forearm, and basically, with the help of a milkmaid, he broke one of the cowpox pustules, took the pus from that cowpox, and basically inoculated the 8-year-old boy with it. The 8-year-old boy, for the next few days, ran a fever, had mild to severe discomfort, and the final step in Dr. Jenner's hypothesis was now to actually see if he was immune to the smallpox. So he broke the blisters now from a smallpox patient and inoculated the 8-year-old boy with the pus from the smallpox into the bloodstream. And lo and behold, after a few days, the 8-year-old boy survived and had not contracted the smallpox disease. It was a vaccine that saved many lives at the times, and Dr. Jenner is forever remembered as being the savior of many British lives, both in Great Britain and worldwide. But how was Dr. Jenner able to do this? What was actually going on? What's the pathology of a vaccine, and how does it work? So before we delve into that, also it's key to go through our immune system and how that works, and then we'll talk about how the vaccines help. So pathogens, which is basically your virus or your bacteria, we come into contact every day, and our immune system, which is made up of white blood cells, help fight these pathogens. The best way to think about this are soldiers in a line of defense. Once a pathogen invades our body, you're going to be hit with different white blood cells ranging from macrophiles, neutrophils, basophils, all sorts coming out at different times, in different numbers, in different waves. So basically, when a person comes into contact with a virus will infect the body, and a virus on its outer ring has what we like to call antigens, and these antigens will come into a big part later on. So a virus with its antigens infects our human host. The immune system, although very powerful and high in numbers, the immune system unfortunately takes a long time to figure out a new pathogen, because with all these white blood cells coming around, so many white blood cells working together, it takes time. It takes sometimes a long time for the immune system to get going and to figure out what is attacking the body. The first line of defense of our body, of our immune system, is a white blood cell called the macrophage. And the macrophage has 2 helpers with it. 2 helper cells called a B cell and a T cell. And the B and the T cell play the most important role in the white blood cell. in the immune system defense. And that job is to create antibodies. Antibodies destroy and kill pathogens. That's simple. So the macrophage's job is to find the right combination of B and T cells to make these antibodies. The best way I like to think about it is that a key, you need to find the right key for your door, for the lock, or else you're not going to get in. If you're stumbling with your keys trying to get in, if you don't have that right one, nothing's going to happen. So it's trying to find that right combination, that needle in the haystack is another good way to describe it. That really, really hard combination of B and T cells when trying to fight this new pathogen. And once it finds that right antibody, the antibody then attaches to the virus's antigen, therefore killing that virus. Like I said, when it encounters a new pathogen, a virus or a bacteria, for the first time, this process can take a very long time and sometimes can be fatal. How vaccines help, or how they speed up the process, is that a vaccine, and most of you who are familiar with vaccines know that we're given it through injection. So a vaccine exposes the body to the weakened version of the virus. Let's say polio, which I have my vaccination for. Before coming to this country, I was vaccinated with the polio vaccine. So even though you're being exposed to the virus, the key point here is to remember that it's a weakened state of the virus, meaning that it cannot harm you, but it produces the same immune system response we just talked about a little before. Most people who get the flu vaccine claim that they get the flu after getting the vaccine, but that unfortunately can never be the case. The most likely culprit is that the patient was allergic to one of the ingredients in making that year's vaccine. So the key point here to remember is that even though you're being exposed to the virus, it cannot harm you, but it produces the same immune system response. And in this immune system response, a special kind of B cell is then created. And that B cell is called a memory cell. And that memory cell remembers antibodies of, for instance, my polio vaccine. So if I were to ever come in contact with polio again, my B memory cells would remember and therefore create a more efficient, tactical, and quick response to this pathogen because it's seen it before in the form of a vaccine. So vaccines in this country, we're fortunate enough to live in the United States, and because of vaccinations, our MMR, our polio, our and all other sorts of viruses, have been eradicated. Smallpox as well have been eradicated, and that's due in large part to vaccines. So hopefully this lesson helped, and hopefully now you're able to see how vaccines work and the special role they play in helping us fight off disease and infection from pathogens. Thank you. Have a good day.